Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, and I am a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. What is that, you may say? Well, it means we do everything from, assembling some printers, kind of like the commercialized Bamboo X1C, to building 3D printers such as our Vorons, our black box right here, taking part in some prototypes like our 0G Mercury 1 right here, and a couple that I'm working on right now that I can't show anybody. But yeah, welcome on in. Welcome on in. So good news is I got the power supply off just a couple of minutes ago. The bad news is kind of balled the hell out of it trying to pry it off. And now I'm still trying to figure out how to get that VHB off. Because apparently using the rather large putty knife that I used to scrape it off, or at least detach it, is not really, like, this is some good VHB. You guys know what you can use to take VHB off with? Like alcohol? Kind of break down and make it gummy so you can get the adhesive off, because this is some crazy stuff here. Hey Pete, how's it going? Free Heathen, Ram Online, welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. So I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm doing good. I have been, let's see, working on one of the closed betas a little bit today, and or not today, but over the weekend. And it just dawned on me, I'm like, oh crap, I've been printing all the new parts for the revisions over the last 2 days that, I love. Just press fit some ECAS fittings. And if you know, ECAS fittings don't come out all that easy. And then super glued in magnets. And then they go, hey, we just posted the new parts. So good thing I was building two. One's going to have the new parts, one's going to have the old parts, because I'm not going to try and dig out ECAS fittings and magnets. Welcome on, Ramon. Bummed you can't get the mellow board that came with your Milo to work. Oh, what's wrong with that, Pete? Like, maybe we should chat some. I didn't have a single issue with my Milo board yet. It worked just well. Is it was it trying to get the software installed? Because that's the part that worried me, was doing the software installed, because that's where I saw the most people building Milos, kind of everything went off the rail. Was getting that part right there. The physical build went great, and then as soon as they went to start doing the software, it all kind of went off the rails. Okay. Yeah, well, let's chat about it a little bit, Pete. I can't do it like with my box right here because it's out in the shed right now. But yeah, let's chat about that some on Discord. Hey Pezliz, how's it going? Grabbing my Too Good To Go from the store, and I'll be grabbing my Too Good To Go from the store. Okay, so you're getting stuff from the store. Gotcha. Happy Tuesday, Liz. Are you okay, sir? I am good, sir. I am doing good. This is like the third or fourth cup of coffee, though. So I'm a little wired. Um, Collection is pretty big now in the back. Yeah. So we still have everything in the back here, and you still can't see the VZ bot The Kyber Dragon, which is the LDO 2.4, is back here. This is Iron Dragon, my Trident that's got my logo on it. Fey Dragon. Death Dragon is the 0G Mercury 1 that we built during the closed beta that's got the full frame build. Dragon Spawn, which is the K3. We've got the Prusa Mark IV down here, which has been actually, I turned the MMU off so I can go direct in with TPU to do TPU prints. Dragoon 1 and Dragoon 2. Dragoon 1 just finished the parts that we'll need for our gantry. Yay! So we just finished some parts here that we'll need for our gantry later on. And Dragoon 2 is almost done with a print, and as soon as that's done, I'll show you what that is. And because we just can't leave well enough alone, we'll go ahead and get something started over here. Keep chewing. I'm done that. And we're going to change up. Okay. Sorry about that. And then Black Box, believe it or not, it's actually over here printing. I don't have a camera that I can get over there right now, but it is actually printing, and as soon as it's done, I'll peel that part off. It's the part that Evil Diesel sent me and asked me if I could print because he's got everything working over there, so he just needed a print going. I was like, sure, I've got a few. And then right here, it looks like this is a table. It's not. This is not a table. It looks like a table because it's pretty much at table height. I mean, this is the same height as the cart for the black box, the black stack cart. This is the Rat Rig VCore 4. I'm still waiting on shipment from Rat Rig for the table that I'm going to put together for this. And it's going to go right over here. So all of this has to get moved and cleaned. Really, it needs to be cleaned up and organized. There's so much crap over there. I can't even get into it. Let's see. Okay, so when you give it power, so yeah, Pete, let's chat a little bit about that offline because I know a lot of people are having some issues. It may just be that you've missed a jumper, so let's chat about that. Hey, Fix 'em Dude, welcome on in, and I love your cars. I've been doing nothing but the Fix 'em Dude Motors vehicles for Toys for Tots so far. Bug, right? Are you going to do a Baja bug? Oh, you must be talking about Fix 'em Dude. The slug bug. Okay, yeah. The slug bug. Put the Baja bug on the list. The slug bug is that just a standard VW bug, or are you gonna do like one of the rat ones where they pop the hood up for the they prop the hood or the engine cover up in the back to allow for more airflow and stuff. You two are a girl on a budget. Hey, Aaron, how's it going? Welcome on in. Tried working with the folks at Millennium Machines Discord, and they think it's a defective. Yeah, it could be. There's been a batch of them, but it's weird because, like, the mellow boards used to be crap, and like everybody was talking crap about them, and then they got good. So I don't know why all of a sudden that particular board they're having so many issues with it. How much longer you can tolerate this K3 on your workbench printing? Dude, the K3 is loud. You've got to Or no, not the K3. I was going to say the VZ-Bot's the one with the muffler and the CPAP. The K3 works perfectly fine. I just printed some stuff on it not too long ago, and I'm going to have to fire it up and print some more because I busted. This is one of the idlers for the black box. I went to load stuff in it, and the legs busted on. So I need to print a new part, and all these are PCCF. So I need to dry my PCCF and reprint a part so I can fix this. The downside of it is I may have to take the damn thing apart, which means I'll have to redo all of the like the XY offset and all that, because you basically have to take the whole body apart to get to this, to get the pin out and reinsert it. I'm going to see if I can figure out a way of getting the pin out without taking it off. But if I have to take it that far apart, it may be a sad day. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see what I can do. You can't even hear the fans? Oh, okay, yeah. It's the the motors. I get that. The motors can be kind of crazy loud. And that's the thing. Each printer is somewhat different. Like the VZ-Bot, it's the CPAP, right? And I've got the muffler on the CPAP. I've slowed the CPAP blower down, and with the panels on, it works. The Annex Engineering K3, it didn't seem to be that bad. And you say you're running the 2004s? Those the ones I'm running? It's the standard kit, right? Standard kit motors? Yeah, I got the 2004s. I don't think they're that loud. But then again, I run multiple printers in the office all day. Interesting. Might have to figure that out. Yeah, the fans on the K3 is not bad, but you can hear the movement. But then again, I also don't push mine super fast either. The rat rig. So the rat rig down here, the fans on the tool head, the part cooling fan is what, a 4028 12-volt server fan, and I've got to go in there and limit the power to that, because when it goes full tilt, it's loud. But yeah, this thing is printed off some all the parts for an E11D blaster for Star Wars, and several other parts. And this thing prints beautifully. I'm just waiting to get it up off the bench, or off the floor onto a bench over here, and I'll be printing some more stuff with it. We're going to get this one back up and running, and we've got a couple of other printers that I'm probably going to part with. I need to do the updates, and then I'm probably going to part with my two ender wires, because they're downstairs. I haven't printed with them in a long while. I'm going to part with those, probably my Prusa Mini, and so if anybody is going to 3D Printopia and is interested in the ender belt, hit me up on Discord. Okay? If anybody is going to 3D Printopia and is interested in the ender belt, which is the Additiva Ender 3 belt printer conversion, let me know. What, you think this is a Rat Rig 400? This is a Rat Rig 300. It just looks like a 400 because it's so big. The nice thing with this though is it can do an IDEX, and I'm trying to figure out when the IDEX kits are going to come out. But both spools for the IDEX can sit inside, and you don't have a chance of hitting it with the bed or anything. The other thing is this is a true 300, so this is 300 cubed, where your Vorons are 300 by 300 by what, 250 or 270? This is 300 cubed volume, and here you really don't have room on any side to do anything. At least on the Tridents, like I can put desiccant and other things on the side because the bed moves up and down, which is what this does. Here you've got enough gap, you can put a full 1 kilo spool on the sides. You sold off your salad fork and Micron. I should have done that. I traded my Micron at Remurf for a tube, and I traded my salad fork for a Takato hot end and the A3D extruder. Was it the FDM extruder? Oh, it's beautiful. I showed the input shaper graphs for this, and Zombie's exact response was WTF. And it was the first input shaper run on it, and boom, solid spike, single spike. Best input shaper graphs I have seen on any printer that I have in my arsenal right now. So now it makes me want to go back and tweak and play with all my other printers, which I probably will do because I still need to bring all of my 300 size Vorons. So the 2.4, actually both 2.4s and the Trident, I'm going to bring up here on the bench. And my plan is to swap out the SB2209s for the Nighthawks. And once I do that, I'll probably get rid of the SB2209s. Nothing wrong with them. They work great. I'm just going to switch over to the Nighthawks. But anyhow, where are we at? We're going to be working on, here we go. Which Nighthawks? The Stealth Printer Nighthawks. So I picked up a Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus Ethernet board from KB3D at Murph, and he gave me 4 of these at the show. The Nighthawk 36 has disconnect issues right now. Okay, but I'm going to run some of these. And then, also future upgrades for the Rat Rig. Where did I stick it? This is what happens when I move things around. I literally move things around and then around and then around again. So the Rat Rig is going to get a Orbiter 2 smart filament sensor. This is the newest version that has the anti-tangle and the Orbital tool board kit, which means I will have to change kind of the back out because the Rat Rig 4s, probably the 3s too, use a EBB 42 in USB mode. But I did get the Oh, I love the orbiters, and I've got CAN bus set up on both of my 0G Mercury 1s that are running orbiters, and I'm possibly going to swap the boards out on there to go to the orbital on both of those, the one downstairs and the one here, the one right behind me, just because I really like the idea of those boards being so well integrated into the orbiter filament sensors. But hey, anyhow, we are, oh, let me get back to where we were at. There we go, boom. And we're going to come over here to the browser view, which should be this camera. My right hand, my left hand, which means the camera should be right. Front, back, right, left. Should be right. I had a comment in my YouTube videos that my camera needed to be reversed or something. I don't know. I think I've fixed it between when that video came out and now. So where we left off is we had our frame. We've got our Z-axis in place here, and we're going to be starting on the AB drive. So there's a lot less screws in here if you're familiar with seeing this. I don't know. There's a lot less screws in here because I started populating this. My Screwfinity unit, complete with labels now. I'm starting to get all of these set up, so eventually this will be my bench stock, and I'll pull things out of here when I'm doing the builds and get them ready. But yeah, this is going to come over here and replace in the back corner. I figured you would like that, Zombie. And I'm trying to, just use up filament that I have sitting over here for those. So don't worry about the color scheme. It is what it is. Printed one for the tranny build. Nice. Nice. Okay, so whoops. There we go. We're going to come back up here. I'm going to set this over here for the time being. We'll get back to that in a second. We're going to be working on A and B drives. So A and B drives, we need to put in some heat set inserts. And it just dawned on me that I did not do these ahead of time. So we will actually be putting in some heat set inserts right now. The other thing I wanted to talk about. Patch kit for the V-Core. This is that 15 amp outlet that I was missing in my kit. So it did come. I didn't say anything to Hector, I think, other than I sent him an email or a Discord and just said, hey, these are the two things that weren't in the kit, and never got shipment notification or anything. It just showed up in the mail today. So interesting. The IEC replacement for 10 amp kits. So at some point, I may swap those out. I mean, it's three connections, so not too bad. Yeah, surprise. So I do need to get my whatchamacallit up here. I was going to say I need to go through and probably order some more of these, but actually what I need to do is go through and find all of my, basically I need, like I said, I need to go through and organize. And a lot of my, um, a lot of my kits have all kinds of spares, so it's just a matter of going through and getting all the spares and not replacing them, but just go get the spares and put them away. So basically, clean up and organize. So two of these get kind of pressed down in there a bit, and I need something to set this on. Because these new parts have an offset to them, or not an offset, but a lip at the bottom. The two of these actually get sunk down in there a little bit, and it's the outer two, or the forward back, whatever. Out of the three, it's the two side ones get countersunk a little bit, and then the one in the middle is the one that is right at the top of the part. And yes, K2 Kevin has the so kind of like that. So these two are countersunk just a little bit. And then the one in the middle is flush with the top. There's one. Do the other side. And yeah, you like those balls? I think these are like 24 millimeter ball bearings. And what I do is you take two of these, put them in the center on your Polymaker spools in your AMS. Nice thing is they're bearings. They'll roll around in there, and they will always keep the weight in the center. And I love K2 Kevin's design, and it works for some spools like my EPAX ones. But yeah, these make good ballast weights, and one that you can also, just do the whole thing like this. It's a little fidget toy. I love my 2-inch balls. Yeah, I'll leave that one alone there, Zombie. But yeah, I think they were 24 mil. They might be like 1.5 or 2-inch balls. I can't remember. I got them off Amazon. They work really well. But as I was saying, the counterweights you can get from K2 Kevin are good. The problem that I have with them is more of, you may have different spools that require a different size. So now you've got to print multiple ones. And then what are you filling them with? I know his are designed to work with batteries, but, are they good batteries? Are they bad batteries? If you're using good batteries, then what happens when you actually need to use those batteries? So I don't know. All right. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this over here, move this down off of the table, because like I said, I know me, I will burn myself. How's it going, Jose? Welcome on in. Welcome on in, Mr. Wizix. I'm not sure if I said hi to you earlier. Hope everybody's doing well. Don't fall for the zombie bait. Exactly. Feeding AMS from top at the moment with little badge spring. Oh, the retractable lanyard things. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be working with the A motor first, and the A motor is the one that goes on the right side, and we actually have part labels on here. Nice. So this is going to be the A side. We're going to start with setting it down. We're going to find our A side, which is interesting. I think they're pretty much the same. And it goes in just like that. Right? Oh, yeah. Okay. Now we've got these, and I should have moved one more because we have to put in a M3 insert in the lower sides here. So good thing this heats up real fast. Yeah, it's enough. Good. Yeah, I'm taking part in a closed beta on an item called the Box Turtle. So if you're familiar with the 8-track by Armored Turtle, the Box Turtle is, well, basically it looks like an AMS. So I've got one over there. I can't really show just because I've got one. It's upside down. I have a bunch of crap in it because it's only half put together right now. I should be getting parts for it on Thursday or Friday, or Thursday and Friday, provided AliExpress tracking is not lying to me. But yeah, it's going to look pretty interesting. It uses so each lane will have an extruder on it. So we're using 4 pancake motors and standard drive gears. And then for the winding wheels, right? It uses N20 motors. So N20 motors. Let me show you these if you aren't familiar with them. I know Zombie is because Zombie has some. But these are N20, which talks about the package size, right? So this is an N20 motor. Now it's a specific voltage and specific RPM that we're using. But yeah, these things are great. They're tiny. This is what I used on our battle bots. Was a couple of these. And it, like I said, different voltage, different voltage and different RPM model. But yeah, N20s, and you're seeing a lot of those around now. So is Pezliz nearby? Is Pezliz nearby? I know she was going on a store run. So this is just completed. So thank you to Pezliz and K2 Kevin. Miss Dragon now has a maker chip that she'll be able to have with her at 3D Printtopia. And it's funny. She's like, "Oh, I don't need a bunch. I'm not, nobody really knows me." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, alrighty. I'm gonna print a bunch of these for her." We're gonna change some of the colors up, but right now these are going on the bamboo AMS. I still need to do some stuff on the black box because right now I've got one of the tool heads is down. Because one of the idler levers broke. So I'm going to have to work on that and get it up. It is printing right now. It's printing a single color right now with a black spool. And by the way, I will tell you that it does not like to pull filament off of a 5 kilo spool. So anyhow, where were we? We were working on, oh yeah, we were working on our V0. So we're going to start with the top piece. Yes, that is the right one. So the top piece here, we need a couple of M3 by 35 button head screws. And these are going to go in the 2 holes here on the side. So there's our top. Bang, bang. So confused. Okay. I don't know why it always confuses me when they flip these assemblies upside down. But I have it like this. I'm just going to simply set it down there. And we're going to build these two parts here. So we're going to need our bag of bearings that we took apart when we did the other one. And what I'm going to do is just bring a paper towel up here so I can dump these out because the little tiny shims are all in here as well. And we're going to have to make sure that we use our shims. So on the, okay, that's what it is. Not this one, it's down the choke hole there. Corner hole, there we go. Now that makes more sense if I flip it over. Okay, so on the left side here, which is where our block is, we're going to need a shim. A bearing with the flange side down, bearing flange side up. And these bearings are F623 bearings. Now we're going to need a shim, and that completes one of our bearing stacks. So we need a second bearing stack over here. So we're going to start with a shim. Flange side down, flange side up. And finally, another shim. And that's the double stack in the corner here. And the other side, we're going to need a spacer, which is going to be the different color. And is probably going to need to be reamed out. So bear with me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's going to go out with her maker chips. She's like, oh, nobody's going to want them except for like Liz and Nomi and probably Karen Chow. And I was like, are you serious? Like, K2 is going to want one. Hell, K2 is probably going to show up with a bunch of them printed for her, if I know K2 at all. So it's like, no, people are going to want to see these. You don't want to see them. You would take one if you were there. Well, we can probably get you one. Now comes the fun part, is trying to ream these without spinning them. Well, that worked out a lot better than I thought it would. While I got this set up, let me do a couple of these. Not taking much off, but I want spacers to be spacers, not something that I'm having to screw, put a screw through. So spacer goes on like so. Okay. Then we're going to have a shim, maybe shim, bearing flange side down, bearing flange side up, and another shim. So there is our double stack here, single stack here with the spacer at the bottom. And by the way, hey Westry, thank you for the raid, sis. Sorry I couldn't stay on your stream earlier, but welcome on in. Welcome on in. There's Pete coming in with the raid. We got Tin Talon. How's it going, Tin Talon? We're doing good. We're doing good. So we took the V0.1, you know, Baby Blue. We took Baby Blue apart and we're rebuilding her. And we're using, this is 3DO CF Blue ASA and 3DO Carbon Gray ASA. This is our color scheme. And we went from blue and black to this more muted blue and this carbon gray. Both filaments are 3DO ASA. Give me 1 second, folks. I just want to double check something. Okay. We'll come back to that in a second. And no drop frames. We still have a delay. Why? Don't know why my computer is flaking out. My laptop. Okay, this is weird. So we're still good here. I just can't see myself over here because my laptop, for whatever reason, has decided it does not want to stay on the network, or there is something up with the wireless. I'm only seeing 1 of 3 networks on my wireless, so that's not good. Hey, Thunder Keys, how's it going? So anyhow, we've got our first part here set up, And we're going to take this part that we worked on earlier and we're going to put it right on top of it. So this open area right here is where we're going to put our bearing stack at. So we're just going to get this lined up and kind of sandwich that down on there. Just like that. Push our cursor. So there we go. And now what? Should be about 18 millimeters in the gap there, which I'm pretty sure that'll be what it is. Let me push that screw down through there. There we go. So that's our stack. And we want to come in through the top over on this side. And we're going to use some M3 by 30 screws. These are going to go down into the heat set inserts that we put in earlier. And I'm just tightening these down until I feel the tension change. I don't want to crank down too hard on these because this piece right here is your tensioner. If you crank down on it, you won't be able to move this fore or aft, kind of like we can't right now. But you should be able to move this ever so slightly. See that there? And that's what's going to give you the ability. You'll push it all the way out when you have your motors in here, and then you'll use the knobs on here to slowly pull it over to the side to tension your motors. Right? You see it right there. We'll pull it out to tension the belts, and then you'll lock down your screws on your motors. Now it's going to tell me to set my pulleys to a specific height, and I thought I printed out that gauge. I can't find it, but I pulled these out of my V01 and I don't think those heights actually changed. We'll see though. So this is my B motor. This is my A motor, and that's what we're working on is the A motor. So this is the motor we're going to use. We've got it set up. Our pulley is nice and tight. It is put in there with some Loctite, so all of that's good. Just clean up some craft around here because she's been used. She's been, we'll say, run hard and put away wet. So Westery, what was your big surprise? Like you had the P1S. It was a P1S with a new AMS. What was the other surprise? Because I had to jump off right before you announced the second surprise. So we're going to install this, and when we install it, our wires come out in the same direction as our tensioning mechanism. So this is going this way, so that's the way our motor is going to go. We're going to set this right on top of it, just like that, with our corner on the side away from the motor wires. Just going to sit that down on there. We'll have to get it all lined up here. So out there. And we're going to use M3 by 35s and some M3 washers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And some M3 washers. Washers. Come on, darn it. My M3 washers are hanging out underneath my ducky. I've got some black ones there, so we'll use those. Oh, Westery. It was a Maker Pro 3D Moose scanner and smart grip. Got it with winnings from things. I have not heard of that before. I'll have to take a look at that. You just subscribed for 14 months in a row. Thank you, sis. So we're just going to put this down in the holes there. In fact, I'm going to try and do this when I can look through the slots and see the holes. Come on. Ah, figures. I'm going to check this earlier, but I think that the holes, once again, these are through holes. They need to slide, so we need to do a little bit of reaming. So bear with me again. Probably mute the mic for that, sorry. Sorry about that, folks. We do have a ad break in progress for another few seconds here. So I was trying to open those up and ream those out. So the issue we have is whenever you're using a carbon fiber style filament, it always feels like it over extrudes a little bit. It's not really over extruding. It's just, well, I guess it is. It's the fibers that causes it to bulge a little bit. So even though you may have a tuned profile for ASA or ABS, if you use that same tuned profile with any type of glass filled or carbon filled, it will you'll have some tolerance issues. But that's fine. It's just a quick pass with a reamer, and you're going to get a perfectly cylindrical and right-sized hole. All I'm doing is preloading these screws so I can set them down there, get it lined up on my holes, and then we'll go ahead and tighten these down. Who doesn't need a moose scanner? Like I said, I've never heard of it, so I don't know what the moose scanner is. Other than probably a 3D scanner, I'm assuming. Like, why is this one not going in? Not going in because that was the head of the bolt. Maybe it's not. It sort of is the head of the bolt. And like I said, you don't want these tight initially because you're mounting through this piece and through the gray piece. So this is what's going to enable you to slide it. So if you need to, you might need to loosen these up some. And that will give you the ability to slide and adjust your motor. And then once you get your belt tension set, then you come back in and you'll tighten these screws down. So what I do is I just move it all the way over to what'll be the outside edge. So when I run my belts, it'll be it'll be at the loosest tension position, and then we can just tighten the tension. Yeah, it's a scanner of pure awesomeness. Well, there you go. So Westry, I don't know if you saw this or if you missed it, and I'm going to switch over to this side camera here because I know it's a better camera. It's the 4K camera. But so this is Pez Liz and K2 Kevin helping Mrs. Dragon with her design. She wanted a dragonfly. So this would be her maker chip that we'll be able to have at the table, and she'll be able to walk around and hand them out at 3D Printopia. We're in the process of printing a bunch of those out. And literally. Okay, Mrs. Dragon, you're downstairs and you're online. I have absolutely no idea why all of a sudden my computer cannot connect to, and by my computer I mean my laptop is not connecting to anything. Like, seriously. Like my laptop has completely like locked up. It may be one of those things. I am just running like way too much stuff. Sorry, folks. Give me 1 second. No idea what's going on here. My computer has completely dropped off the network. When all else fails, restart. Not my streaming computer, but my laptop that I use for secondary, watching various other things and making sure that my stream is doing good. So, Mrs. Dragon, uh, that's it. You got to keep me. You got to pay attention to me today and let me know if my stream's having any issues. Yeah, Westry. Well, if you'll be at 3D Printopia, we'll get you one. If not, I'm sure we can get you. We can figure out how to get you one of those maker chips. Are you going to make a battle bot that can shoot those maker chips out? Oh God, Nick. Too bad we don't know someone who works with networks. Yeah, like I do. That's the problem. Is I do work with networks and I have no idea what is going on. Because all I did was I unplugged it from having a direct connection and moved it over here. And normally that works perfectly fine. There's never been an issue there. So I don't know what's going on. So we're just going to reboot it. Who knows? Maybe it decided to do an update and it just finally was like, no, dude, you got to reboot. So, okay, so back over here, we got the A drive done, which is the right motor. And see if that fixes it. Now we're going to come, oh, put the little knob on. Be tidy, lefty loosey. Knob, go on. Darn tight knob. I guess I should have tried this on beforehand. Okay, so threads are kind of crap on this, so I'm probably going to reprint these. At least the knobs in a different filament. So they may not match the color scheme, but I don't want to kill the printed threads on this trying to get the knob on. But I think it's just a case of the knob, the thread in the knobs themselves. Yeah. We'll get the knob on later. That's no big deal. Make sure that we've got two at the window. Change my view back. There we go. So check, we've got two on the motor side and one at the top. So we've got the two pulleys on the lower side towards the motor, one at the top. So that's our check. Okay. We're there. Team go away. Okay, that worked. Yeah, don't know what that was. That was wonky and weird. Okay. So now we're over to the B drive. We did go ahead and already do our heat set inserts. Once again, the two on the outer side of the three are countersunk a little bit. The one in the middle is flush mounted. We're going to flip this over, make sure that we're seeing the B. Take our B, and that's going to lay right in there. Not lay in there, but slide in there through the gap. So parts have their sides embossed. Yes, yes. And they'll only go in one way because they are offset. We're going to take our top and same type of thing. We're going to do M3 by 35 through the, I'll say the tower. in through my 35, through the tower, and the middle hole that's right next to it. Flip this over, and on the tower side, we're going to do the double stack again. So we're going to do one of our, whatchamacallits, shims, a shim, bearing stack with the flange facing the shim, bearing facing up, and another shim. It's the first bearing stack. We need a second one, so we're going to start off with a shim. Need a lower bearing and an upper one. Then another shim. Okay, so there's one side done. On the other side, which is the side that's in the middle, we're going to start off with a bearing stack. So shim, you have to work. You got another job to help out with some things since there were some unexpected costs recently. Yeah. Thought would be awesome if we could make a new battle bot. See my design on top. Yeah. A flange bearing down, flange bearing up, another shim, and then one of our plastic spacers. And there's our double stack there. Ready to go. Oh, excuse me. So we're going to take our top piece here and line those up and with the holes and sandwich them down, and darn it, I done did it. I had a feeling I was going to do it, and I did it. All right, folks, bear with me one second. That sneeze. All right, sorry about that. Okay, this is why you build these things upside down, and then you stick them back in there that way. So we're going to have to rebuild this one. So we'll get the screw pulled through. And once again, this is the double bearing stack. So shim, bearing, bearing, shim, shim, bearing, bearing, yeah. Okay. Now that we've got those, we need to line up our holes. And I just dropped a shim again. So apparently the trick was not to ream these so that I had something for these screws to bite into. Okay. We're going to do like that, and we're going to line them up this way. All right. There we go. Painful that. So there's our bearing stacks. Once again, double here, single over here. Now we're going to put in the 2 screws on either side of our sliding piece, and these are M3 by 30s. Hey, Shenanigans, welcome on in. There we go. That one, for whatever reason, is not going in. That one did. Well, it might be going in. I'm just being impatient. There we go. Again, you don't want to mash this. You still want the ability for this piece to move. There we go. And once again, we've already set up our motor because we took it off of a working system. And once again, our wires come out at the side where our tension screws will mount. And these are going in with M5, or excuse me, M3 by 35s and some washers. And thank you for the blesses, Pete. So how's it going, Shenanigans? Hope you're doing well tonight. Hope all is well with the driving. Really need to ream these ones out. So bear with me. Okay. Gotta apologize for that. Get those reamed out so that the screws will go through them easier. So, Shenanigans, have you got your latest project up and running? Well, latest project. Oh, yeah, it's probably like which one? Your latest engine project up and running yet? Or are you still working on that design somewhat? So for those of you that don't follow, Shenanigans is our resident like evil genius, and he likes to build motors. And by motors, we're talking like gas-powered turbine engines and stuff. It was a fail. Need to redo the intake. Okay. Well, I am sure that you will get it figured out. Once again, we're trying not, we don't want to make these really tight just yet. We're just trying to make sure that we're lined up on all four corners of the motor though. So we can back and back off, because we do want the motor to be able to slip and slide in here. And if not, then we just need to back out a little bit so that we can get movement. Something's still biting. There we go. Which way is still binding? Or is it these? Yeah, I'm not sure why we're still binding there, but I will figure that out as we go through the process. B motor there. And once again, I'm going to most likely reprint these knobs in something other than a filled, because the threads just aren't coming out nicely, and we're going to need some new threads there. So we've got these done. Yeah. And we're going to verify that here our doubles are at the top away from the motor. So we've got our double, well, our two pulleys that line up are high and at the top. And if you look at them, you'll see that they line up with the pulley. If I had a good light, I will tell you that they do line up with the pulley. So that's good. Now we're going to mount these on the printer itself. We'll bring the printer back over and screw the drive units. We're going to have, we're going to sit right like this, and we're going to have two on this side and two on this side, two on this side. And what's going on here? Missing some screws? No, I'm not. We'll have three on each side, front and back. So we'll get these over here and we'll work on getting them lined up. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to set this on the edge here. In camera view, of course. There we go. I'm going to set this on the cross beam. I'm going to bring my screws down here and line them up with one there, preferably with a non-magnetized driver. So the one hole lines up right here in the corner of the upright. So the next two holes is the center hole and this one. And then this one is going to get lined up this way. So we'll set this up this way. And we'll bring this one over and get it lined up. Should be good. And once again, we're going to be looking for that one. That one is lining up, so that one's good. This one, once again, is going to go right down the corner upright. Not feeling that one. Oh, there it is. That one's lining up. So we got these two right here, and these are going to be some more M3 by 35s. Hopefully we got these lined up appropriately. That one went in. And thank you for the follow, Dubnus. Welcome on in. Alrighty, so the two rear screws attached to the threaded frame ends and the two forward screws attached to the preloaded nuts. Don't forget to remove the temporary M3 nuts if you installed them earlier to keep your stacks from falling apart. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. That's going to leave one nut towards the front that will be used for actually installing the front idlers, which we'll do next. So we'll take this one. Once again, we're going to just set it on the rail here, and we're going to line up. Of course, this one's going to line up with the vertical upright, and then these two we need to get lined up, so we just bring it close by. And sorry about putting my big noggin in the way. That one's going to go there. And we'll get this one pulled over. That one looks like it's lined up as well. We'll set this down here, and I'm just trying to get this one right here to bite, and if it does, then I'm good there. That means my motor's not going to go anywhere. We'll grab a couple of more M3 by 35s, and they'll be going down here in the front. How are you doing today, Dubnos? Welcome on in. And not sure. Oh, there we go. Maybe. And that one does not feel. Yep, that one was not biting. I see that the my thing came forward a bit, so we'll try that again here. All right, that one bit that time. Come on. All right, so that one is not biting. I think I have a bit of a twist. Oh. This one, we missed the nut, so I got to try and pull this back out some. And we'll try and get our nut in there again. Still feels like we missed it and it went too far that way. What's going on with you? Not. Do not understand what is going on here. Like I think I'm getting there, but I'm not. Something is not lining up properly here. There we go. I think it was the weight of the motor kind of pulling it to the side and causing it to open up a gap there. Probably just the order in which I was tightening things down didn't help either. Okay, so here we go. We've got our B and A motors installed. Both of our wires are heading towards the inside. And once again, this is a rebuild. So this is my V0.1 that I took apart and we're rebuilding. Okay. And that's the A and the B drives. Now we're going to move on to the front idlers. These will be the pieces that go right here in the front. Get that over there. And we'll need a couple of different pieces. That's the gantry. Where's the front the front idler pieces? Idler. Let's go over there. Actually, that doesn't go over there. That's the part that got replaced. Idler part, idler part, idler part. That's the idler part. That and that. Okay. So we've got our idler parts here that we're going to need. So we just need to kind of do a little bit of deciphering here on which part is which. We've got side down one like that and thick one like that. So these are the ones with the squared tops and the big hole there. That's your cam lock. And it looks like we're going to take M3 by 35s through the top of these. And once again, these will just flip over like that. And on this one, we're going to do one of our bearing stacks. So it's a shim, bearing, another bearing, and a shim. So just like that. And before I go too much further, I'm just going to take the appropriate piece. Got that. We want the thicker stack here. And what you're doing is looking for, when this goes on top, that the angles here are the same. So when that goes on top, our angles are going in the same direction. Push on there just like that. The other one over here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a shim, a 623 flange bearing, bearing side down against the shim. Another 623 with the flange facing up. And then another little shim. That gives us our other bearing stack. Because this piece is thicker, that means we're going to use the thinner one over here. And that's going to go on just like that. And you'll see that our angles line up just perfect. Now we're going to take these and we're going to put them on our front edges. Now we want to make sure on the left side of our printer here, flip that around, the left side, that we load 4 nuts down this front face. This is going to be for the door. This is going to be the 2 magnetic mounts for the door. So we need to load 4 nuts here. And of course I did. I took all my nuts and put them away. I hate when I do that. So these are M3 nuts, and we're just going to line these up and slide them right down. So there's our 4 nuts right down there. And now we want the one on this side is the thicker bottom. So this is going to be the bottom. This will be the top. We flip it over and we put it up there. Our angle's going following the angle of this, basically. So our angles need to be going the same way as our kirigami. And we're just going to grab our M3 screw, 35, which is what I used, right? Yeah. There you go. M3 by 35 into the corner. And we're going to do another M335 here. And that's going to be what goes on our last. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. It is in there. Oh, this actually looks like it's lined up. Another M335 through the front here, and it's going to go down into our M3 nut that's on this rail. Stars align, and that was lined up. Which it did. Now we've got this front piece down there. Tighten that up in the slot. Oh, look at Miss Dragon. Did you know that voting is open for Big Jano's Marble Races Yeet of the Year? Several members of this community nominated, but my yeet was heartbreaking. I start my campaign today. There you go. So, for those of you that aren't aware, yes, Big Jano's Yeet of the Year is going on. Mrs. Dragon was one of the nominees, along with, as she said, several members of the community. So if you are interested in supporting Mrs. Dragon on her campaign for Yeet of the Year, please feel free to reach out. And this one, we need to pull our other M3 nut down here, and we'll try and get that lined up. Should be about right there. And another M3 by 35 down through this front piece here. Feels like we are not fully lined up. There we go. And those are lined up. Now we've got the little pieces that we can put in the front. These are going to be the cam locks that'll go in for, I'll say, latching the top screw or the top rails in place. And these are what those little cam locks look like if you're familiar with IKEA furniture. So you've got the end here, you've got this piece, and you got this little hex. And you'll use a little hex key, and this will go in the head and just screw it down. So this one is the left side. This one is the right side, or are they both the same? Both go in the right, same direction? Yeah, looks like it. So we've got both left and right installed there. Now what we want to do is look at it from the sides and make sure that everything's lined up. So on this side, we want to make sure that which is the A side, so boss, so this is the right hand side of the machine, one up, one down, the forward one in the rear is down, and then the one in the front over here is down. So all three of these lower ones line up. Means when we flip over here to the left side, we have the one down on the bottom, and then the top three will line up and line up with our pulley as well. So the top two back there do line up with the teeth of the pulley and do line up with the front there. And then over here, the bottom two line up with the teeth of the pulley and the idler up front. And because I heard it release, here is the print that Evil Diesel asked me to do for him. Got this weird angular slope to it. Got 3 pins on it, and all 3 of those pins printed beautifully. This is a 0.6 nozzle, printing 0.2 layer heights. And yeah, it's printed in Polymaker PLA. It's been sitting out in the just sitting out open air for a while. It's on a 2 kilogram or 3 kilogram spool, so I can't actually dry it in any of the dryers I have at the moment. But yeah, the black box is printing nicely. So, Evil Diesel's on here. Your print's ready. So there was the right side, there was the left side. Once again, the idlers, the angles are following the angle of our V. So we're Ving end out. Okay? End out, end out. The idlers are done. Now we're going to work on the Z-axis. So we already have our thingamabobber here. We've got the bottom in place in our Z-nut here. So we're going to need to add the top in once we start to put our screw in. It makes no sense to put the spring and the top nut in just yet until we put the lower side in. So, and here is our Z motor with the older mount on there. There's our spring and the top part of our anti-backlash nut. So we need to take this mount off and put the new spangled colored mount on. Like I said, we have a slightly different mount here for our Kirigami than we would. This is the standard bed mount. But needless to say, our Z-screw nut is there. It's not tightened down. It is loose. Okay. If your lead screw nut does not have M3 threads, use longer screws and M3 lock nuts to secure it. Round or flat, we have the flat edge side on the anti-backlash nut. And this is not fully tightened down, so it has a little bit of give just to make sure we get full alignment. And then I will tighten these down once we're there. Wants us to flip this over on its top. So that we shall. And the left outer sides here, we need to install 3 M3 nuts. This will be to hold the panels on. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to look over here at the right side. Once again, we've got 3 on the front and back sides. So there's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to turn it around here. And we need 3 on this side and 4 on this side. Once again, it's for the back panel clips, but this side is going to have 1 extra because of the spool holder. So 1, 2, 3 on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right side. Sorry. Hey, Royal Nomi, welcome on in. I was trying to count and not drop my nuts at the same time, so I was a little distracted there. Welcome on in, Royal Nomi. How are you doing tonight? Royal Nomi is also on there for Yeet of the Year. So I think we got all of our nuts. Last chance before we start installing some things. We'll be installing the feet. Like, wait a minute. Did we? Right there, it shows having the, oh, I guess it does show having the feet on there. So I guess we're going to do the feet first and then bring our Z-axis in. The last chance, the next few steps, we will install feet. So in doing so, we're going to close off these ends. So pay special attention to the nut checks on the next pages to make sure you have all the correct number of M3 nuts in each extrusion slot, because if you forget, it's a pain. I do have some of the LDO, like after the fact, put in square nuts, but it's still a little bit of a pain. You've been lurking off and on. Okay, let's see if you retain your crown. Yes. Royal Nomi was Yeet of the Year last year. So we're looking at the right-hand side. So I need 3 on each of the uprights and 3 across the vertical here. So three, 3. So I've got the 3 all the way around here. Yeah, I guess this is the left side of the printer. The right side of the printer, once again, we're looking for 3 on each of the uprights and 3 across this edge that's facing me. 3, 3, and 3. So we're good there. Now this is the rear. We're looking for 3 on this side, 4 on this side, 2 along the back here, and then 1 in the middle at the bottom between the motors. So I do have 2 here. Not seeing 1 between the motors just yet. Oh, there it went. Yes, there's 1 between the motors, and 3 on this side, 4 on this side. So it all appears to be good so far. Now it wants us to look at the front edge over here, and we're looking for 4. There's 4 on this side. I'm only seeing 3. There it is, 4. So I've got 4 on the inside of the front leg here. And that's all of them. So do not flip this over and set it back down. You want to leave it sitting on its top, because if you go to flip it over like I did the other day, we'll spill all of our nuts out. We don't want to spill our nuts, but we are going to move this over because we are going to be doing some more heat set inserts. We'll grab our heat press, grab our heat sets, and we need to grab some feet. So we've got our 1 foot with our plug inlet, one rear foot, and 2 other feet. So our feetsies, we need an insert right down in the middle, right here, and that's going to be to hold the rubber foot in. Okay. And on our piece here, we're going to have one in the middle there and one on the side. So this will be, once again, to hold the foot, and this will be to allow the other piece, skirt piece, to be screwed in. So we'll need 2 on this piece. Guess it helps to plug this in. Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Trying to make a little bit of progress on this tonight. Yeah, just been running ragged with work. I'll say it's crazy times with work right now. And it's going to be even crazier for the next month. So, my company has announced layoffs, and those layoffs, unfortunately, like, people impacted will not be notified until September 16th. So we pretty much have a month for everybody to sit there on pins and needles. So things like this. So going in this way, I have no easy way to set this down. But going in this way, I have a flat surface to set it down. So I'll be more inclined to just press it in with my tool. But on the other side, I get it about 98% of the way. And then I use the flat of something like this to get in there and make sure it's flush with the printed part. Or if it's on a proud surface, I'll do it up against the edge of my metal bench here to make sure that I'm getting it nice and flush. Because that'll make it, that'll ensure that when we go to screw in whatever screw is going to be going into it, that it won't be at an angle, and we'll be able to get a nice good we won't have a problem trying to get things screwed in, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, other than that, doing good. Living the dream, having fun. Been printing all the things with all the printers. And did you see Mrs. Dragon's coin or Maker Chips, Royal Nomi? It hasn't told me yet, but I am going to go ahead and put the one in this leg. Now this leg, as you can see, has this little wonky piece in it. And this is actually where your bone tube's going to go into. So you'll have either a screw-in or an ECAS fitting here. And then this slot is where you'll put I believe it's just a bearing. And an end stop will also get attached there. And that basically makes it'll make a, whatchamacallit, filament runout sensor. So we're going to have one here and that one there. So we'll put 2 more in this one. Like I said, the trick with these is leaving them just a tiny bit proud so that you can make them flush. If you try and take them all the way down, then if you've got an angle, you may not be able to fix that upward downward angle any. Okay, so those 4 are done. Go ahead and pull this out, and we're going to use an M3 by 10 screw to put the feet on. M3 by 10 screw in the feet. What did I do with the feet? Well, there's one of them. Feetsy, feetsy, feetsy. Those aren't the same. That one went all the way through, didn't it? There's one. There's a different one. What did I do with the feet? Probably we're gonna have to not install the feet for now, because I don't know what I did with. Not different feet. Okay? Oh, they might be. Rubber foot. No, they shouldn't be. Well, I've got different rubber feet here. Different sized rubber feet, which is not good. Give me 1 second, folks, just to do a little bit of a quick look around. Not like I don't have plenty of extra sets of feet around, but we try to use the ones that meant for printer, came with the printer, that were originally used with the printer. That I am apparently not finding, but I did find the 4th foot of the taller feet. Problem is these really need to be a different size screw than the M3s. So we may have to go and move on without said rubber feet for the time being. So we'll come back and install rubber feet. We need an ECAS fitting for that, for the 1 foot. And that ECAS fitting, we're going to take the big rubber donut off, which I already have on all these because, well, I was doing my, box turtle. Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? All right, hold on a second. So this ECAS fitting is going to get press fit right in here. And these are normally very tight fits. And it normally gives me fits trying to get those in. So bear with me as I kind of grunt a little bit. All right, that went in all the way there. You just want to make sure it goes all the way into the tube, and then you, like, I don't know, leave imprints on your hand and stuff, but there's your little ECAS fitting. And it wants us to put an MR85 bearing down here. And you're probably going to say, MR85, what is an MR85 bearing? Well, funny you should ask. The MR85 bearing is the one that comes out of your, like your extruder gear pieces. So, MR85 bearing. I've got a few of those that I keep on hand. And this just drops right down in that slot, just like that. Okay. There's no pin, it just drops right down in the slot. The sensitivity of the runout sensor can be adjusted by applying tape to the outside diameter of the bearing in order to increase the diameter and allow the switch to activate it precisely as you need. That's new. I didn't remember seeing that. Okay, now we need to prepare an end-stop switch. We need to solder wire to the 2 highlighted terminals. This will set the switch up as normally open state, which is preferred for this type of use case. That's a little bit different. We normally, we do the outside poles of an end stop, but we're going to do the inside poles here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our end stops. Look, all of those have levers on them, so I'm good to try and pop one of the levers out of this one. You can get these with or without the levers. If you get them with the levers and you don't need the lever, well, you can pop the levers off. Just compress it and pop the lever off. So now you've turned a D2FL into a D2F by just popping that lever off. You just have to squeeze the sides together and kind of squeeze and twist. Hey, 3D Medic Vince, how's it going? Teslas. Not made of sugar, you did not melt. Aw. Hey, Liz, now that you're here and Nomi's here, I'm going to once again go back over to the side camera here because it's got better resolution and it looks better. So this is the back side, and yes, that is purple Royal Nomi. And then there's the front side of the coin. Or excuse me, maker chip. This is Mrs. Dragon's maker chip. I helped a little bit, but she also worked with Pezliz, and then of course K2 Kevin came to the rescue and helped with the right font and everything to make it look even prettier. All credit to Mrs. Dragon and Kevin. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I said. K2 comes through in the end, but we've got the white is Polymaker, though now it's turning into an Epax Cool White. The purple for the flower and the wings is Epax 3D Purple. The black is Epax 3D. And the green, anybody tell me what that green is? Kind of hard to tell. The green is Polymaker Sparkle Dark Green. So it is a creator spool by or for Loyal Moses. So he really liked Sparkle Dark Green, and I've been sitting on two spools, and like Liz said, hey, we need to we shouldn't sit on these spools. We got to use them. And when Mrs. Dragon said she wanted a green, I was like, I've got just the thing. So I can probably make, I don't know, like 400 or 500 of them with the amount of green that we're using. But Kevin will like that. Yeah. So I need to try and take some nicer pictures of them, probably on this stone, and then post them. I'll do like one of each side and get them posted. So we need to solder a couple wires here, and we need to make sure which one we're doing. So on these end stops, really hard to see. And I'm not even gonna be able to show you on camera, but the pin, whoops, the pin that is closest to the plunger, the outer pin, that's your common. That's the one that goes to ground. And then you're going to take either the normally open or normally closed pin. So normally opens the middle, normally closed is the opposite of the common. Normally we'll do this, and we're saying it's normally closed. That way, if it fails, your end stop closes basically, and you don't have a collision in your, say, like your X or Y gantries or whatever. Normally open assumes open, and it closes when the plunger's triggered, right? So that's what we're going to use in this filament sensor type setup here. So I need to get a couple of lengths of wire, and we'll do some quick soldering. And I know I had some wire out here. I have no idea how long this is supposed to be. I cannot remember. Does it say? No. Why would it say? It's going to be in the rear. It's going to be this side. Filament sensors over there. So, I mean, not super duper crazy here. I'm just going to give myself a decent length to work with and hope I don't sell myself short here. But I'd rather be long and have to cut it down and waste wire than be short and have to really waste wire. So we've got two little pieces of wire here. We need to wire this up real fast. Let me bring my soldering setup. Over here, I need this, some solder. And so this is a nice thing. So I've got a TS100 that I use for heat set inserts and a TS101 that I use for soldering. And the nice thing is they use the same exact power cord. So I have one that I can toss in the travel stuff, and then one that I always leave here at the bench side that I can use with whichever soldering iron I need to use at the moment. And the only thing I really need to do is, do I need to swap out the size of the heat set insert tool here or there? So that's going to heat up. It's going to take all of about 5 seconds to do so. I'm just going to get my, this is my Omni Fixo. Oops, sorry. So this is my Omni Fixo. It's magnetic and it has the side clamp. So it's not doing like a pivot joint that pushes a lot of pressure on your electronics. It'll hold your whatever part you're trying to solder nicely without damaging it. The other thing is these are balls and magnets so that they pivot, so you can really work it around however you need it. And because it's all magnetic, they can stack together. So you can stack them together depending on how you're trying to solder stuff. So works out really, really well. It's not inexpensive, but it's not, I'll say it's not prohibitively expensive either. And you don't need a lot of the end stripped here. Get your ends stripped. And what we're going to do is we're going to tin the two legs that we need to solder up. Once again, it's going to be the middle one and the side with the plunger. And I'm working with the very end of my solder here. So you're just going to tin the tip of your soldering iron, get a little dab on there, heat up your leg, and flow some solder on it. Okay? Real quick. And then what I've been doing is I loop that around my finger, grab the end, and once again, apply heat to my wire right where I have some of the solder on there, and then just touch my solder to the end, and that'll wick it into the wire. Okay, very, very simple. And then all we need to do is heat up the wire and that leg together. We don't need to add any more solder. We're just heating things up. And it doesn't look like I got much solder in there. So let me retin these wires. Darn. Come on now. Shouldn't take much. It should just be a quick little dab of heat. And then the issue is I keep my hand shaking, and so I pull the heat away, or I pull the wire away as I'm trying to hold it in place, and that causes me the issues. So once again, normally I don't have this around my pinky, but heat up the wire, add in just a touch of solder, and that will tin your wire, dab off any extra, and all you're trying to do is melt the two solders together. So from the leg and the wire, and it should just be a real quick dab of heat, and you're done. And of course, you'd want to put some heat shrink over that, which I would normally use my heat gun to do, but I will probably shrink it. Well, I'm going to say I'd probably shrink it with my iron, the one I just shut off. Just cut a couple lengths of heat shrink. This came with a bunch of end stops that I bought for the box turtle project. So works great on this 24 gauge FEP wire. Loop it on and push it up over the solder joint. And then we'll just throw a little bit of heat on it, and oh man, I just lost my bearings. And by lost my bearings, I mean I just dumped over a thing of bearings. A bunch of 608 bearings to be exact. So I've got these Gridfinity ones printed out, but they're just sitting underneath the desk here, and I did not pay attention to what I was doing, just knocked a container of them out. So the good thing is they're big enough, they're easier to find. And like I said, we're just going to hit this with a quick blast of heat and shrink these down. Over here so it'll cool back down before I put it away. And just like that, we're wired up. Once again, the side at the plunger, so that is the common, and then the central one here is the signal that we'll be using. Okay. Oh yeah, a magnet wand would be awesome. And this is a thicker wire that I'm using for solder. And then here's a much thinner wire. I think is going to be a lot better to use for my for doing the soldering and stuff here. So once again, this is a Gridfinity setup. I've just gotten lazy and kept it over here closer to the workbench, which I need to stop being lazy. And like I said, do a lot of cleanup over here. I've got a bunch of parts that I've got heat set inserts that I want to recover. So I'll do some heat set insert recovery here semi-soon. But anyhow, we've got this done. We're going to use one of the M2x10 socket head caps, or not socket head, self-tapping screws. Drop that out, so we'll put that back in. And you'll notice on this side here, we've got like a little, where's that? There's a nub right on this side, and then over here is a hole. So that's where we're going to mount our end stop. And we need to make sure that the plunger is lined up with towards the inside. So it'll be lined up with the, whatchamacallit, the bearing. And then we'll just get that in there and screw that down. So the nub's going to hold it and keep it from twisting. And then this is going to secure it to the printed part. Just like that. And then what we can do, grab a piece of filament, run it through there, and just listen. And you probably can't hear it because I've got a lot of noise behind me, but it is tripping the end stop. So what'll happen is when this is in, when you've got filament loaded all the way through, it's going to be pushing the bearing up, which is going to be contacting the plunger, which is saying, okay, this is what normally open, so there's no filament there. And as soon as the filament goes through and it runs out or it breaks, now it's going to drop that bearing down and it'll open the circuit, and that's your filament sensor. So there we go. There's our filament sensor, filament runout sensor installed. Now, whoa, sorry about that. Now we need to install our bottoms here, and we're going to have our power outlet or inlet on this side, and the spot where your foot goes is going to be facing up, and your this is going to sit along this bar. So just set it on there, push it forward. This one's going to go into the leg, and that's going to be a M3x40 button head cap screw that goes down in there. The leg that we just installed our end stop on is going to go right here. And then your front two, just making sure that the scooped edge is facing the front and the flat edge is facing the side. Yeah, the OmniFixo, I tell you, I so like my OmniFixo. So like my OmniFixo. It is wonderful to work with. It works very, very well. It's made life easier working with all of the stuff that I've been working with. So what sizes? I really need to find those other feet. That's an M3x40. Okay. And this connects in, I think, with what was it, M3x10 was what everything was connecting with. So M3x10. It should be these smaller ones. I just need to figure out what I did with the rest of them. Quite surprising. Oh no. No, or is it shoosh shoosh? Shoosh 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 shoosh. I guess I can't really put that one in because that would just make it 1 foot instead of all the feet. And I really have no idea what I did with the darn thing. Huh. I'll find them at some point. For now, we've got that done. Oh, we need to do M3x10s into the front here. Now that we have these on, our lower uprights are now covered, so we're good to start flipping this thing around again. We're going to flip it around here, and we're going to need to lock in these two front edges here. So maybe move our 2 screws around. One push past there. Okay, and these are going to be M3x10 button head cap screws as well. The problem with magnet wands, though, Nomi, is some of these screws are not magnetic. Not all stainless steel screws are magnetic, believe it or not. That one's there. And the nut shifted. Hate when my nut shifts. But you haven't got courageous to build like me? Yeah. It's really not that hard. It's just following instructions, which I know is hard sometimes, especially for some of us. Okay. sometimes where the hell did that one go? Well, we might be one screw down because I have no idea where that one went. There it is. Okay. So you are lined up now. So stop being a pain. There we go. Like being a teenager or something. Okay, now we need to put our decorative feet on. And decorative feet, these are just little, literally little decorative feet. Hey, these did I print off? Apparently I felt the need to print 2 sets of feet. That's weird. So we've got 2 sets of feet. These are going on with M2 self-tapping screws. And so there's 3 holes there. So the 2 along the edge are M2 self-tapping. The one in the middle there is an access hole to be able to unscrew the leg if you ever need to take the leg off. These are, I'm going to say, totally superfluous, not needed. You can do this without them. But who would want to, right? I mean, so you're going to need 8 of these. What I'm trying to do is get them all the same color. So I've got both black and the standard silver. And these are the hex head ones, which I thoroughly do not, under any circumstances, enjoy. But sometimes they go on relatively easily. And actually what I should do is grab my iFixit kit. Because it's the screwdriver base is a bit, I'll say, thicker than that one, and I know I'll have issues with my hands using the smaller one. Just say it sucks getting old. Now you should have two different types of these, and they'll they'll go on opposite sides. So these two will be the same and these two will be the same, but there's like I said, two different types. They're basically mirror images of the other. And this is the part I hate, and that's where they start stripping. And it's not a big issue that I haven't put the actual little feet on yet. It's not going to be that big of a deal that those aren't on there yet. So as soon as I find the smaller ones, I will put them all on. Strip, but oh well. We've got some extras here. And let me double check in the box over here when I was taking things apart. Maybe all the feet are in here. And they are. There's one. They are, but there's one. Two and three. Rock on. Yeah, that's all I needed to do is just take my time, and eventually I would remember where I put them. So we'll grab M3 by 10. We're just going to screw these down into the M3 heat insets that we put in there. Going to feed the horses. Okay, Westery. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. So Liz, are you going to do any of the other, like the Fibron filaments, or are you just working primarily on the, um, whatchamacallit, the Y? That one was a little bit harder to get down in there. Or are you just primarily working on the colors and the panchromas? I know Zombie's been doing some of the Fibron stuff. So that last screw was feeling like it was bottoming out before it was tightening up. So I just switched over to M3x8s. I guess I should scroll back up and see if it was an 8 or a 10. It was telling me to use. Yeah, it said M3x10, but for whatever reason, that one was not liking the 10. 8's pretty good. We're still getting multiple threads into it, so we're good with 8s. It was really more of they try and limit the overall number of screw sizes in use within the kit. Standard Voron design practice. So they already have M3x10s, even though M3x8 might work. You know, there's no sense in adding both 8s and 10s to give you more stuff. Oh yeah, Liz, I was asking if you've worked with the Fibron line at all, or if you're pretty much just sticking in the panchromas. I know Zombie had done some Fibron line. Now, finally, we're going to get to our Z over here. Put that over. And all I'm going to do is just move these screws out, take this plate off, and put the new plate back on. That's cool. Well, and I know Zombie did what? One of the coaster, right? He did a Fibron coaster that Kevin designed. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take this one off, set aside, take this one. The only difference is it's just a different color. And we're going to put it in the same spot. So 8 and the 2/4 and a 6 in the center. And what I mean there is M3x8 in the corners, M3x6 in the center. You test it as a coaster. Gotcha. Says the direction of the wires does not make sense, or does not matter. Just use whatever makes sense for the way you're doing your electronics. I'm installing this in the exact same way as it came out. Should work just as fine or just as well as it did originally. So, okay, so all three of those are screwed down. M3x8s here, 6s here. In fact, I just noticed that this one is not actually screwed all the way down. So, you get that the rest of the way in. Alrighty. Now we're going to take this and we're going to roll it in. Down through our z-axis here. So get that out of the way. We're going to roll it in through our T-nut or our standard lead screw nut here. It'll probably be easier for you guys to see when I do it like this. And my anti-backlash nut, of course, will come in from the top side here, like so. We're going to have to push that down in there so it's nice and tight. We're going to bring this in from the back side. Get it lined up and start pushing or start threading it. And as soon as we get it through the nut, we start to get into the top piece over here where my finger's moving. There's fully compressed and locked in. Locked in to the lower T-nut, like teeth-wise, for the plastic part. And I'm going to start rotating my lead screw in, and it's going to start pushing it out. So as it starts pushing it out, I'm going to let it push it out because what it's trying to do is figure out what the tension is in the spring before the lead screw starts rotating in. Then as soon as I feel the lead screw on my thumb, that tells me that I'm at the right, we'll say tension for the lead screw to go in and work its way through. And that'll set my anti-backlash up. Maybe. Why are you not? There it is, but it pushed too far out, so give me a second, bear with me. There we go. Just like that, we get our lead screw going through here. And I'm going to flip this back up because I want to be careful that I don't bend my lead screw in doing this. And we're going to get that lined up and it'll slide right down there like that. So we're going to have two spots here where we need our nuts, and then we'll have the ones in the middle between the two z-axes here. So let me get these over here. So we need two here. I've got 3, 4. So I'm not going to have room over here to mount anything. I'm going to have a fan over on this side. Or not the fan, but the 5-volt power supply. So I'm going to leave 2 on this side towards me. And I'm going to bring 2 over here for the Z-screw. And I'm just going to be able to pick this up. And move these over some so that they're close. On either side so that I can work them into position. And these go in with M3x8s. Why does that feel like it did not? No, it did. All right, so that one is in. I need to get this other side in, and I'm going to have to use a ball end driver to get in there. So we'll take our M3x8, maybe. There we go. I feel like we're screwed in, but yeah, they are not lined up or something was not correct. And that would be the issue. So this, the part has, I'll say, we'll call them the guides, the little nubs that help center it in the channel. And what happened was it was a little bit far back, so I'm sitting here driving it into the side of the rail, and I lost the alignment on the nuts. So now I've got to pull my screws out and realign my nuts. There was no way any part of that was going to sound right, was it? What the heck? Maybe M3x8 is not going to work and I need M3x10. Pin isn't going to bottom out. All right, me and this group are having some issues. I don't know why. I'm looking like I am straight up and down, and that my nut's lining up. Yay, success finally. Okay. Seriously? I know that that is highly, highly interactive seeing my head get in the view there, but trying to get things lined up and small spaces, big hands, and bad lighting all conspiring against me. All right, 2 for 2. Now, we're going to set it down kind of like this. And we're going to need to get our other two screws, our two things lined up there. Get wires out of the way. Go ahead and bring this up out of the way as much as possible. Okay. Now I've got two nuts between the center rails, and all I got to do is find them and get them lined up. All right, well, there they go. Seriously? All right, there we go. Comes this way. Okay, now I can't express to you the amount of fun this is. So, let me just bring you guys around here. We'll switch the view and I'll try and show you what I'm referring to. Come on, darn it. Okay. Now, what we're doing is between these two rails, there are two nuts, and we're trying to line these two nuts up to these two eyelets. So, one there and one here. And you can get to them from the back or you can get to them from the front, but you're going at a wonky angle either way. So kind of a pain in the butt, and that's what I'm trying to work on right here. This says M3x8s. I am going to try M3x8s just because I don't have much room to play with. And I'm going to wind up using tweezers to try and get these dropped down in there. Or just dropped. There's one. It. Okay, both of those are at least in their holes. Now hopefully we got the nuts lined up. And that's either negative or it really needs 10s instead of 8s. Now I'm going to go with it needs 10s instead of 8s because that one feels like it's grabbing, but just not enough. Freaking kidding me. I got them down in there. They're not grabbing, but I can't get the screw up enough to get it out so I can replace it with a 10. Because it's just freewheeling in the hole. So there went one. How badly did that shift? So it looks like um, the nut is still in the right place. If I just get this to drop down in there. Yeah, in this case, the issue is 8 is just not enough threads to get it done. So we just need to really go in with a 10. Come on. All right, well that came out, and then I just flipped this the wrong way, which meant I just moved the nut, so that's good. Did I? No, it looks like the nut may have stayed there. Okay. Or I thought the nut was there, and it wasn't, so I'm right back to the drawing board. And I know I'm not showing this, trust me, it's painful. And I'll say Liz built the Cocoa Press, which is built off or based off of a V01. So she probably knows the pain that I'm going through right now. Okay. Now that is on there. I'm trying to visually make sure that it looks like it is centered. Does it give me a, tell me to try and measure, or take your time here, loosen the two screws. We'd already had them loosened. And we want to make sure that it's smooth. So we're going to be rolling this up and down, trying to make sure that the movement is smooth. Can push it some. And if you're able to push it like that, then that means that everything's lined up. And now we can go through and tighten these center screws. And I'm just going to tighten them a little bit each side. And you don't want to over tighten these, because remember, this is plastic, this is palm. If you tighten it too much, you can strip the threads and the palm material, and then you're going to have a bad day, because then you're going to have to order a new set of anti-backlash. Okay. So where are we at here? We are now, we've got our Z-axis built. We've got our Z-screw installed. We've got alignment. We moved it up and down through its motion. It said to take it all the way down to the bottom. So once again, I'm not grabbing the bed. I'm grabbing the top of the carriage and applying downward pressure. And you'll see that everything moves down nice. And it moves up nice, just trying to, there we go. Everything's moving nicely. And here we go, alignment of the lead screw. Make sure the motor is positioned approximately in the center of the Z-rails, and then you can tighten all four of the M3x8s. Lock it down, retighten and reinsert the M3x12 screws that we loosened in the previous step. Oh, that's the two up here. So I think we're good there. We moved up and down. You can do it by, physically manhandling it or by turning the screw. And now we would be on to the x-axis. And folks, it's a little bit after 9, and I think we're going to hold off on going into the x-axis, partly because here's one set of documentation. We're going to have to look at a different set, simply because we're using our ultralight carriage. And so I never removed this rail from the aluminum extrusion. So this should still be perfectly fine. I think we did take it off and squirt a little bit more grease in it, but that was it. We didn't physically remove it from, like the linear rail itself did not come off from the ultralight extrusion itself. So we will be building this on the next stream when we come back, and we'll be going from there. Now, I was talking about getting the metal, let me see if I've got it up over here still. No. So we had talked about, where are we at? We had talked about getting one of these, the metal tool head carriage. Here's the issue though. They've got it in MGN9C, not MGN7H. I've asked to be on the notification list, so somewhere down the road I may swap that out. But this is an MGN7H rail, and if I get the 9, I can't use this. I would have to get a new ultralight extrusion, and the previous extrusion that I was using is mangled. It did get mangled when the piece fell off, or when the tool head fell off. That's why I went to this. And this is designed for an MGN7. The folks that made this only have this, I believe, in the MGN7. Bicep carries one that's slightly different that you can get in either a 7 or a 9 size. The 7 uses the M2 screws. The MGN9C uses 3mm screws to lock it down. So that's why they're different. Hence, we're going to go ahead with basically a printed carriage when we go to do this on Thursday. So we will come back on Thursday and we will continue the build. We'll be getting the what we got? We've got the x-axis. And I think as soon as we get that installed, it's x-axis, top frames, and then belts. Yeah, so we're getting really close to belting this. And then it would be toolhead time after that. I will need to reprint these knobs in another material just to make sure that they go on easily with no issue. Or I might just grab the old ones and reuse those, provided they go over those pieces. Whoops. So that's where we're going to stop at tonight, folks, and we'll come back to the X-axis, belts, and what toolhead, I believe, will be after that. So thank you all very much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate everybody hanging out with me on stream tonight. Thank you once again, Liz and K2 Kevin, for helping Mrs. Dragon on her maker chips. Like I said, we're getting a bunch of those printed out now, so that's going to be cool. I can't wait to get those out in the wild. I know she's really going to like having those to be able to hand out at the show. And now let's see who we potentially have for a raid target. We got Creatix Brit on. Looks like she's doing a Lego build with Zach Rutledge. So that's cool. That's kind of a twofer. And a lot of people playing games. So that kind of tells me right now, I think we're going to go over to Creatix Brit and go hang out with her and Zach Rutledge. Thanks for the follow, Z Design. I really appreciate it. And like I said, if you like what you see, follows are free. Subscribes are always welcome, but follows are free. Thank you all very much for being with me this evening. Like I said, I'm going to get a raid started over to Creatix Brit and Zach Rutledge. So thank you everybody for being here. We'll come back Thursday. We'll continue this build. And you guys have a good evening and a good week. Bye now.